Good evening, traders. Welcome to the Sunday Open. I'm your host, Craig Shapiro, macro strategist here at NinjaTrader Live. It is Sunday, July 12th. Have a great panel for you checking in this evening. Quick look at the tape. Bombs are flying again, so the cross-asset trade of stocks down, bonds down, dollar up, VIX up, gold down, Bitcoin down is back. But not as crazy as you would think. Crude up about $3 to 73.38. S&Ps are down 14 basis points, 10 handles, so really kind of quiet. The Nasdaq is down a scratch. I mean, it's quiet. Russell down 27 bips. It is the fog of war trade is back as the president is resuming missile strikes. Unfortunately, we're going to start talking about the Strait of Hormuz again, even though no one except Shy wants to talk about it. But it's back. And who I have for you this evening to talk it all through the week. Huge macro week coming up. I have Sarah with us, Blake checking in, and Pax. How is everybody doing Sunday evening?
What's up, buddy?
All
great.
Good. All
doing
good.
Great. Everything is great.
I'm doing great. I got the beach in today, so I'm happy.
Beach day.
Beach day.
Nice. I'm checking in remotely. I had boys AAU basketball tournament this weekend over in Fort Lauderdale. One of my sons championship win, the other one semifinals performance. So couldn't get back in time for the full setup, but here with you nonetheless for an action-packed week, an action-packed show. We have CPI this week on Tuesday. Fed Chair Warsh is speaking to Congress as well on Tuesday. Bank earnings are starting on Tuesday. We have PPI Wednesday, Beige Book Wednesday, TSM Netflix reporting on Thursday, options expiry Friday. First couple of weeks of July were slow as hell. Blake and Pax and I spoke Friday morning, and the tape didn't even move for about 40 minutes while we were on the air, not even a tick. But this week's going to be a lot more exciting and a lot more going on. So let's kick it over to Sarah. Sarah, how are you thinking about the setup here? We spoke a little bit pre-show. You wanted to take a look, or you were looking at the VIX being as compressed as it's been in quite some time too. How are you thinking about the week here and the setup for the rest of July?
Okay. Well, yeah, the trading's not been that great. Let's start with the VIX. It's just, it's summer months, it's low and it's slow. So what's happened with the VIX is we are inside quarter and down, which means if you go to the yearly chart, we are very close to last year's lows. Last year's lows are 1338 and we closed at 1502. So, it kind of looks like we're headed for more slow, grindy, creepy crawly stuff. So keep that in mind. And what I kind of want to talk about, like ES a lot. What happened last week is I keep this box on my chart to remind everybody that we are still in a very consolidated range on the higher time frames. We're inside month, and just inside this range, and we have been for it feels like forever, but it's only been a month. But yeah, so we're stuck in this range, and then like what happened last week with ES was you got a little broadening formation in here, and I did point it out on Twitter for people just in case, but you had a high, low, new high, new low, and then they made a new high on Friday. So if you don't know how to trade a broadening formation, I suggest you look into it. I have some videos on it. And as far as comparing ES and NQ, the last week, obviously, this is the weekly chart. Obviously, ES was stronger as it took out the previous week's highs, and then NQ took out the previous week's lows. And you guys hear me say all the time, your line in the sand is like whatever level. So your line in the sand, I said you can be short below that, but if you're above that, you got to flip long. And that's kind of what happened towards the end of the week. But it is set up for a bullish week. This would be a failure of consolidation down, right? So then you would look to play long, and then you've got some long targets. But again, we have to be really careful about outside bars. So your line in the sand to be long for NQ is, 30, 30.094. So that's last week's high is 30.094. So if you're above that, you can be long. If it triggers and then starts trading back below the previous week's highs, we're going to play it short again. So it's kind of like I said last week, it's a day-to-day kind of vibe. Like, we have to switch biases a lot right now because we're in such a tight range, but you can clearly see on Monday they were buying. Tuesday they were selling. Wednesday they were selling. So we were buyers on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sellers, Thursday, Friday buyers. And this is just simply based on time frame continuity and if we took out a previous day's high or low. So it's pretty sensical, I feel like. So if we take out a previous day's high and the candle's green, you want to be more on the long side, but still just having the ability to be able to not marry a position right now. Don't go super heavy like swing trading or something, because every single day we confirm or negate, the bull or bear case. So just have to be really, agile day to day. I don't really have too much to say for RTY and YM. I don't feel like most people don't trade them. I never trade YM. I trade RTY a lot. There was a nice short last week, but still, we're not inside week, but we still have a red month. And you can see the strength here. This is the monthly candle. So ES month is green and YM is green. So you would say that those two are the strongest. And then the third strongest or second weakest would be RTY, because it did make a new all-time high this month, but it's red. And then NQ is the one holding everybody down, so to speak. Like they're inside and red. So NQ has been the weakest link so far in July. So that's why I say you got to be careful playing it long. It looks like we're set up for a long week, but we could get a turnaround Tuesday situation, kind of like what happened last week. So you just have to be on your toes. I feel like I'm being really long-winded, and I'm sorry.
We've been talking about and seeing this rotation, out of tech into Russell, into Dow. That's kind of been with us now for a few weeks. But on the days when there's a good tech story, it's it goes the other way. Tech goes up, Russell goes down. That's because the S&P has been, plus or minus pinned at different levels, 7450 cash, 7500 cash. I mean, because of the zero data expiry and options activity. But this week is expiry week. So we as we push through towards the end of this week, we're going to start to, and into next week, we'll start to trade, I think, a little bit more directionally. We were talking pre-show about implied correlations, and single stocks are basically at nearly record lows. And so it's like the index is pinned, but under the hood, tons of stocks moving higher, tons of stocks moving lower. On any given day, any individual name kind of goes crazy. The S&P doesn't do a whole lot. The Russell NASDAQ spread goes all haywire, and this is a pattern that we continue to see. What I'm surprised about, Pax, I wanted to just get your thoughts on the setup for the week, but it wasn't surprising that missiles were flying. Missiles were flying in the middle of the week, yet we had a big day up on Friday. No one went home hedged, and all of a sudden, I guess people are thinking, well, the president fires missiles on Friday and he ends missile flying on Sunday by the open, and so why go home short? But here we are. Things seem to be heating up again, but we're so close. We're still so far off of the lows, or very close to the highs, and yet the war seems like it's maybe coming back a little bit. So how are you thinking about the levels and the setup here for this week?
I don't know. I don't think the market. Well, obviously the market doesn't really, except for the bonds. It doesn't seem like and crude. It doesn't seem like the market really cares that there's bombs dropping again, and that things seem to be kind of kicking off, kicking out. Who knows? Except for that big break we had the other day on Friday, which was nothing more than a reaction to some fakakta headline. Whatever, you trade the process that's in front of you. And, for me, I don't, as long as it's whatever, whether it's a real MOU or it's not an MOU, as long as the status quo is, we're dropping bombs, it's not too bad. Yeah, they're sniping back at us, it's not too bad. Then we're going to kind of sit here and grind. And again, I've said this the last few weeks, The quarterly open, well, since end of June, the quarterly opening ranges in these markets have the markets very confused. The NASDAQ is 30,263, 30,263, and the NASDAQ is very solidly below it. The S&P is 7508. The S&P is 100 handles above it. So, I mean, there isn't anything enticing me to do anything in the markets except for being short bonds right now. I got stopped out of some gold longs last week. Okay. When I get stopped out, my stops are at entry. And that's after I pay for the trade. So I got stopped out for a scratch on some on a unit. But I don't know. So while there's this dispersion between the two, between the S&P and the NASDAQ, it doesn't make me want to do much except for look for some easy rotations, like a 15 handle rotation or a 60 handle rotation out of 65 handle rotation out of the NASDAQ from the OR. And it's got to be very, very easy. We are in the midst and in the exact midst the last few weeks since June 17th-ish. Or since expiration, we have been in the midst of summer markets. So, I am not looking to do much until, we start to get jolted out of this range, one way or the other. And I am not going to guess what it is. I'm not going to anticipate what direction the market is going to do. I will leave that for the people that will pick me up in their Ubers. I'm going to trade the market as it is. And I'm not going to try to guess where it's going to be. Because who knows what's going to happen with CPI Tuesday, with PPI Wednesday, with the plethora of earnings that we have this week and next. The banks, when did you say the banks were, Craig?
Yeah,
Wednesday?
Mostly Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. We've got Warsh, testifying and first Humphrey Hawkins testimony. So that'll be important. And this is going to be a big week. It's going to be an interesting week. And I think it'll set the tone for the market coming up, going in, really kind of beginning the quarter, right, is going to be this week. I mean, we've had this rally in the S&P has been just a grind up and the dreaded creeping rallies, as I call them. And I don't like dreaded creeping rallies. I don't trade them well. So I just leave them alone. This is not, as I said in our stream on Friday, Craig, this is not a market worth my money. It's not a market worth my capital, and it's not a market worth my energy. A point to make here is that, you guys who are trying to catch every 15 minute, every 15, whatever, every wiggle, however you define it, when the market does actually give you huge sweeping moves that, and that you need to zoom out, not become so myopic, but zoom out and take and look, take these big moves and add to them. You're grinding yourself. That's why it's called grinding. You are grinding yourself into a nub. And so when the market gives you these trades that'll make your month, make your quarter, make your year, make your life, you're going to only catch 15, 20 handles on it because you're grinding yourself or banging your head against the wall, trying to pick up these little swings. You know what I mean? So sometimes it behooves all of us to just take a kind of a step back and to take a wider view of things and say, is this something that I really, really want to spend my time and my energy on? There's different forms of capital. So, this is not that for me. And I hope that Tuesday, Wednesday, and, this week, I hope that sets the tone for the quarter and we start to move again.
Yeah. I think last week, first week was that kind of holiday shortened week. And the last week, no macro, no earnings, no nothing, which kind of allowed for that trend trade, trendless trading, back and forth nonsense, not worth your time, not worth your money. Really needed macro data or macro news to be very, very significant in order to allow for the indices to move aggressively, and we didn't get it. And so, but this week is a little bit different because the macro data that we have is of paramount importance, and we're pushing through expiry. And so the window of potential weakness, as Jim likes to call it, and I've stolen that from him too, early in the week closed. As we push through the week, reopens again, and then next week is very open again, which means that the bar for other things to matter is lower again. And so we can move on news that maybe last week would be difficult to move. Next week would be easier to see it move. And so, and then this week, like I said, we have big data, Blake. I mean, we have the CPI, we have the PPI, we have Warsh, and so cross asset traders are going to be keen on What does the data look like? Is this going to accelerate a Fed hiking cycle, possibly as early as July? Is he going to have to come out and kind of accept that if the number is hot? Yet if the numbers are cold, what does that mean for the dollar? Do we get a yen rally? Positioning is offsides there. So it is, there's a lot going on. How are you thinking about the setup here let's start with equities for you. I know you touch on it all, but curious, how are you thinking about the equity indices here for this week?
Well, you said something a little earlier, Craig, that and I love your saying, by the way, under the hood. Whenever you say under the hood, I'm like, I feel like I'm peering under the hood all the time of the markets because I focus a lot on what's happening in currencies and fixed income, and then I'm looking at commodities and whatnot. But you mentioned the 1 month implied correlation index from the CBOE, and we were talking about that just ahead of the show in the green room, if you will. And you can see it's historically very low levels. And when it is, that's usually a trigger to when stocks start, coming under a little bit of pressure. And you could go all the way back and just look at this, the ticker is COR1M, if you guys are curious. And whenever we get down here towards 3, and this is one of my colleagues brought this up on Friday, and I'm going to have to skip past some of this like bad tick data. But you can see the very inverse correlation. So when you're down at very low levels, it becomes more of a risk. It's kind of like looking at the VIX, if you will. So when talking about equities and how I see currencies, last week was what I was just calling a transition week for us. And I told myself, and this is so funny, Pax, you could appreciate this. I trade with Post-it notes all over my desk. I mean, it's just and this one says, target trade, right? So target trade, when I say target trade, that means pick my levels. That's just a gentle reminder myself, since I don't have like a self-shocking keyboard, which I wish I had.
Do those exist? Are you making that up?
No, but I'd like to.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, if you want to invest into it, we'll put one together. Just like self-shocker, like don't trade, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I have to suffice with Post-it notes. But target trading means I just have to figure out what levels I want to participate in and just wait for those levels. And Craig, the euro was a great example last week of just showing us that the dollar, if you will, because I tend to trade predominantly FX and spot rates. So you can see last week we were just kind of a mess, but now we're actually breaking down in the euro, which means that the dollar is actually firming in what we call a bull flag formation. And so that means when the dollar gets a little perky, that's usually a warning that the stock market is not, keen on going up anymore. And it could be one of those things. And you can see we're really brushing like the top end of this flag pattern, which means that the dollar could really firm up. We could see equities under pressure. And I was hoping that we wouldn't get this barrage of negative Iranian, news over the weekend. And I know it's very well known. Weekends are for war. Weekdays are not.
Only.
So, maybe things will calm down, and then we can focus more on the macro, as you pointed out. We got CPI on Tuesday. We got Warshi's, he's going to face the music. He's going to be, just a barrage of comments from the House, and then the Senate will be on Wednesday. Not so important because there'll be different people, same questions for day 2. But we'll have PPI, so we'll have CPI, which is expected year on year. We're expected to see 1 tick lower, hopefully to 2.8%. I mean, inflation, based on the way inflation metrics are run, when you drop off, you drop off a month, you add a month, inflation should theoretically come down. Obviously, economists understand that. So, but we'll still get a 1-2 punch between CPI on Tuesday, PPI on Wednesday, and producer prices are all very important now because, whatever producers are feeling, if they're feeling the heat, they're going to pass it. They're not shy about passing it on to the consumer now. So, and we've seen that, whether it's through, what you pay for at the grocery store or for goods or for cotton shirts or whatever the case may be. So all this is coming to a head as, I think, Sarah, you were showing a little bit earlier, like an earnings calendar. I mean, we got some really big earnings, right? So, whether you're talking JP Morgan, Goldman, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, that's on Tuesday. We have Netflix on Thursday. We've got, we're going to hear from BlackRock. So private equity. Let's see how things are going over in the private equity space. We got Morgan on Wednesday, and we have Taiwan Semi on Thursday. So a lot of big earnings, a lot of key drivers this week. If we can just get past these Iranian headlines. And I got to ask you this, Craig, since you're leading this charge today on this Sunday, how do you feel about this whole Iranian situation? Because I know Pax was just talking about the MOU, and we could probably throw that out the window. A little bit more kinetic activity, is happening. Do we eventually, have boots on the ground in Iran? There's a lot of people that are calling that this might be the inflection point where we actually have to start pressing a little bit more from a militaristic point of view. What do you think?
I mean, it's tough to say. I think folks clearly are not think that the president is not going to do it, right? We're too close to the midterms, too close to having a situation where oil would spike, markets would fall, more likely that Republicans would lose even more seats than they are already projected to lose. And so clearly, the equity markets are thinking there's no way he's going to do it. Right. And so even though there's this back and forth on missiles moving in different directions, it's not, it doesn't behoove him personally to do it until after November. So I think that's the key. That's kind of, it's only July. I mean, look, I'm obviously I don't want to see us, doing anything more material here, and the president will do what he wants to do. But markets are definitely not priced for it. And if you want to trade it, it seems like, you trade it in oil, right? You trade it in bonds, you trade in the dollar, because the equity market trades on different dynamics, right? It trades on where are we in the month with respect to the flows and the options. And then what is the story with the AI CapEx? Those are the drivers of the equity market in the US. And so, last week we had the big Hynix IPO in the US, and that really got the semis and tech going, on Friday. This week we'll hear from ASML, we'll hear from TSM on chip demand and returns. And then next week we get Google. And then the following week you get all the other reporters. And so we're going to get a lot of data here on that story. That's what's ultimately, I think, going to drive the equity market. As far as the geopolitical is concerned, I think you have to think about it. This is to Sarah's point. With the VIX being as low as it is, you have the ability to protect portfolios kind of overnight. If you're a swing trader or you're an investor with the volatility as muted as it's been, you can actually now protect yourself from that situation redeveloping, right? And so I think that is I think that's important. That's a little bit different. But you're looking at it right now. S&Ps are, down 33 basis points. It's 75, 95. The NASDAQ is down 48 bips. This Russell's a little bit of an underperformer, down 60 basis points. But, kind of quiet. But then look at crude. Crude up 3.5%. Look at the bonds. Bonds are really starting to move. So I think if you want to play the war, or if you think that there's going to be more escalation coming, there are better ways to try to express that view than I think in the equity markets.
Tina.
Always.
Always, yeah. Hey, Pax, can I ask you a question really quick? I know you don't, and you the way you trade, and cutting your teeth on the trading floor, you never really look at charts, and you always say that. But one of the things that you said,
I do, Blake, just not during the trading day.
Okay, and I know it doesn't take a master technician to look at the 30-year bonds, and you're like, I'm so bearish bonds, I can't even see straight coming out of your mouth. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or chart expert to look at that chart and go, holy shit, that does not look good, right?
No, the bonds are in a cyclical bear market, and they have been. So every rally that we get needs to be sold. I mean, we need. We talk about the last few weeks with the bond rally, with the 30-year rallying up to like 114. I think we stopped at 114.20, and then made a high of 12, and then broke 2 points in that in a day, and which is a huge move. So when at 115, 116, we can talk about the Fed standing pat for the rest of the year. At 117, 118, 119, in that range, I think we can talk about Fed cuts. At 110, 109, we're talking about hikes. or at least that's back on the table, and we're at that level. We're trading to that level in 30-year bond that's starting to indicate maybe the Fed will be hiking, which is why Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday especially with Warsh testifying on Tuesday in front of Congress, is going to be important. What's he going to say and how's he going to answer questions? What non-forward guidance, forward guidance will he give? In this testimony, and how will the indices react, especially after CPI Wednesday? I'm sure that I hope that CPI won't come in. Well, I don't know what will affect his testimony, but it'll certainly affect what we're doing.
Yeah.
And Craig, I think you made a very good point about the war, and I thought that was a very interesting question, Blake, because not very many people are talking about boots on the ground, especially because we've got the midterms. After the midterms, I think anything is possible, and Candle Nerd, I think it was Candle Nerd, had said something about, that all of the things that the president and that the administration and Israel are not going to let stand, I don't know. Trump seems to have gotten beaten in this round, and he's not going to let that stand. We know that. So who knows what kind of crazy shit's going to happen? And again, whatever it is, it is. And we can talk about it, and it's interesting, But the great point that Craig made is that portfolios have the ability to be able to hedge the risk now with the VIX. We have the ability to be able to hedge our risk by standing back and letting the market become a little bit more obvious to us. I talked about that on Friday in the show. Is when what the market is at least trying to do. Sarah was talking about it earlier. What the market is at least going to attempt to do. Then you've got reason to spend money in it. When you have no idea what the hell the market is going to do, don't predict, don't guess. Stay out, keep your powder dry, because better days are coming. It's not going to be now. It's not going to be today, but it could be Tuesday. It could be Wednesday. So keep your powder dry. Bonds are interesting as, I was going to say, AF. Bonds are interesting AF.
Yeah. You got too many teenagers running around your house.
I do. We've got
AF.
My college daughter has got two of her friends in for a long weekend this weekend, so that's been fun to watch them bop around the city and get to see Chicago. And then they're going to see Tyler Childers tonight, and then Noah Khan, I think tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. So that's fun.
That guy's gaining popularity so fast.
Which one?
Noah Khan.
Girls love
those
him.
Tickets are pricey tickets. They are pricey.
They sure are. Sure. Yes, they are.
Is it silly that I don't know who that is?
Yes. Well, you don't have thoughts.
I'm so embarrassed.
I love Noah Khan. I like his music. My kids like his music, so I like it. It's the stuff that they like to listen to, and Tyler Childers is good too. I would have liked to have gone to that show, but we went to Windy City Smokeout Wednesday and Thursday. Too much activity. Tuesday, Sox game. Too much going on.
Plenty going on in Chicago in the summertime for Pax and the family. And if you are in the chat, make sure to throw a like our way. And if you have any questions, make sure you're a subscriber. We're here another half hour to address any and all questions that come up. But Sarah, I wanted to transition back over to you with the war, maybe back on. Crude oil top of mind again, and with respect to the bonds, crude moving higher is going to make it very difficult for the Fed. But crude seems to need elevated geopolitical strain in order to propel itself higher. The charts had been looking pretty poor up until the resumption of missiles flying towards the end of 2 weeks ago. How are you thinking about the setup here for the oil market?
It's scary as shit. Stay away from it. Yeah, no,
is that a technical term? I like that. That's something I would say.
Yeah, too news driven for me right now. The one thing I can say is that we are trading above last quarter's lows. So unless you're below 68.56, you cannot be short. and be long at your own risk. There's too much headline risk for me to want to even, care about this chart right now. It was great when, 2 quarters ago we just mooned. That was fun. But now, like, I'm not into it.
All right, would you say you're not into it because what you're seeing on the chart is evidence that it's headline driven, or is it the fact that it's headline driven and so it's not what you do, so it's like I don't need to be worried about it?
Like, I know it's headline driven, and I know a lot of traders found out the hard way on Friday if they didn't have a stop in, because what did the Qs puke, like 300 points in like a minute or two, something like that. I think that hurt some people.
Yeah.
Well, I know it did. So if you are going to trade it, have a stop in for sure, like instantly. Like, I know a trader who told me they had just put a position on, and before they could put their stop in, that's when the tweet came out, and they got smoked. And that's just the market we're in right now. So I'm kind of just preaching, have OCO orders in as soon as you get in. Don't wait to set a stop, because the internet is available whenever he wants. So.
Right.
Truth bombs, baby.
Yeah.
But the internet is available to him at all times.
At all times. So, it's funny. It is what it is.
That's very funny.
Pax, for a while, crude seemed like it was tradable, directional trading, both to the upside and then to the downside. You think that are there key levels here you're focused on, or is this? I know Samantha mentioned this a few weeks ago, like not interested, focus on something else, and you've been speaking that way too. I'm just curious, is there anything that you're looking at here that might make it more interesting?
No, I think Sarah really hit the nail on the head. But let me give you a couple. I think that crude. I think there are better things to trade. But then again, I don't think that there's anything worth trading right now, up until Tuesday. But crude, we're driving, and we've said this the last few weeks. We're headed into the summer driving season, or we are in the summer driving season, and crude is usually kind of either steady or a little bit bullish from there. So I don't think crude is going to go much lower than the low that we set last week or the week before, which is around, what is that, like $68? That is a 6704.
6704.
Yeah.
Close, yeah.
So that's a really, really good base for the market to be able to find its next leg in. I would be very surprised if we were able to make it back down. I don't even want to talk about that trade, but I'm going to have to. I don't think we're going to make it back down to the mid 5 handle, or even lower than that. So I think I like this area 67 half to 68 half as sort of a base to be able to rally from, going into the end of the year. I'm bullish crude, and I do want to be long crude. I just don't want to spend too much energy in trying to catch everything. But above 68 half, we're looking at like 73. Hold on, it's hard to see with these cameras are on it. My eyes are old. 73 half, 73.50, which is around where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Above that to, let's see, 76.10. So above 73 half, we go back up to 76.10. Above 76.10, then it's back to the incredibly pivotal price of 77.70. 77.70 is ultimately the
7777.
Yes, all sevens. Yes, not just because it's my lucky number, but go back and look at crude. Everybody go back if you want to look at what I'm talking about. Go back and draw a horizontal line at 77 on your chart, going back years, and you're going to see how pivotal that price is. Every time we get to 77, so you can do it on a daily, you can do it on a weekly, you can do it on a monthly. Well, not so much on a month. Oh, I do it on a monthly. You can do it.
This is the year.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you can see how pivotal that price has been going back to, 2019 or 2018. We failed to get up there, but we made it up to like $77, and then broke all the way down to the crazy ass low of -40. and then got above it and, made an all-time high. So above 73F, it's 76 even to 76.10, then up to 77.70. At 77.70, then maybe we can, look for a little bit of a short if they hold it and then start back down. But crude, if you're going to trade crude, you have to, have bracket stops. Have an emergency stop. You need to have like an emergency stop. Who knows what kind of crazy stuff is going to happen in this war in the next year, 2 years, 3 years? Who knows? God willing, there'll be peace. God willing, there won't be any more loss of life. But if there is, we need to protect ourselves as traders at all times. The most important aspect of this business right here for you, for me, for all of us, is that we protect ourselves in every instance. And sometimes there's going to be kind of a black swanish event, even if what Sarah was talking about, even if it's not a black swan event, it sounds like a black swan event, where that trader put on a trade, and by the time the second that he put it on, there's a tweet, and the market ran $10, $15 against him. If you've got an emergency stop in for 15, 20 points or, 20 cents or whatever it is, it might get run, but at least you're going to get filled someplace. You're not going to wait for your account to liquidate. I don't know. Just always protect yourself. And
Pax, there's an old saying. I mean, and every trader should be, adhere to this. Is if you don't have capital, you can't trade. So you should always be managing your risk at all times. Pretend like you're trading your grandma's money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Protect yourself at all times. Don't gamble. This is a business like any other business. Know when to spend it. Know when to not spend it. Know when you want to spend some money, and know when you don't want to. And then follow your plan. Don't let your emotions get a hold of you and start pushing you, on a hamster wheel. You walk on the hamster wheel, you controlling it, you're controlling it. And then all of a sudden you're spinning out of control because your emotions are getting the better of you. The difference maker between long-term profitable traders is not strategy. It's not process. It's the ability to be able to stick to the strategy and the process. It's how you live your life, how you view everything. How you see money, how you see success, how you view failure. What are your fears? That's ultimately going to be the determining factor as to whether or not you're a long-term profitable trader or not. Most of us don't have the ability to be able to say, I don't see anything here, and I'm going to wait. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to keep my powder dry because I know that better days are coming.
You know what we call that, Pax? Target trading.
Target trading.
Target trading. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Right.
That's exactly. Just photocopy that, post it, and send it to me.
The post-it. I'm going to scratch.
I'm going to get it tattooed on my 6 head. Most people have a 4 head. I've got a 6 head.
Aww.
I got a big head, Sarah. It might be good looking, but it's big.
All the more to look at.
Yeah. All the more to look at.
Thank you, sister.
You're welcome.
Blake, I wanted to just shift gears a little bit. You mentioned something earlier just on FX, and that's your, it's your bailiwick. And it's been a minute since the FX market trading has had an impact on equities trading, but we are getting to a situation with respect to dollar yen. We're making, close to 40-year highs in dollar yen. There's a ton of, talk about the yen moving, continuously moving weaker towards 165 or more. And at what point is the MOF going to do something? Is the BOJ going to raise? What are you seeing here on dollar yen? And is there a level or is there a rate of change or something that you would look at to say, this is the time where it's going to impact equities?
Well, Craig, you brought up the yen, and I'm glad you did. And I actually pulled up the yen futures here, and this way you're not so, traders don't have to be so laser focused on what's happening with the actual yen itself, the dollar yen, excuse me. But yes, you're right. We're at levels that we haven't seen since the Plaza Accord. Put it that way.
Holy shit, that's important.
It is, and what's really important too is Suzuki Katayama. She is the finance minister, Japan's finance minister, right? And she pleaded to the world last week that Japanese pension funds and investors and institutions start buying, JGBs and reinvesting into Japan and whatnot. And I thought that might have given the yen a little bit of more of a lift than it has. But you can see as I zoom in here, this is a weekly chart, so I have to really kind of zoom in. We're still at these levels, as you mentioned, Craig. But they are at levels where you're right. I mean, it's very one-sided at this point. And you can start seeing some unwinds. A lot of people have been talking about like the carry trade. And, FX carry trade is not as impactful as it was years ago, like in the early 2000s when, Japan's interest rates were at 0. You had RBA and RBNZ at like 7.5%, 8% or whatever. So there's this big, huge disparity in interest. So you could actually carry other currencies, but you still have it. It's still there. It is still relevant. And we could see it more in like emerging market currencies when you go to like the Mexican peso, Japanese yen, which are at very, very lofty levels. And so if you start to see the yen really move, or if you really start to see the dollar move, the dollar is a product of unintended consequences. It is one of those things when it starts ripping and you're like, holy shit, there goes the dollar. And then that's when stocks start to roll over. And as you pointed out, this is when it really starts to affect markets. I would say you watch the yen, you watch the dollar. If you guys don't have to trade these things. I don't trade a lot of crude oil. I do trade it, but I don't trade it often. But I watch it because it impacts other things. I call it the domino effect when you're dealing with, intermarket correlations, right? So you watch the dollar, you watch the yen. If they start really, really showing their teeth, that should be a warning that equities could start to feel a little bit of pressure, especially at these lofty levels that we're at. I mean, let me just say it like this. Last year, E-minis at 7,600 was not on my bingo card last year at this time. It just wasn't. Was it for anybody else? I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I called it. I said 76.32 was going to be the high.
If you called 76.32 and that was, then you are the man, because
I am Einstein. They call me the Einstein of Chicago. Nobody called that shit.
I know. I mean, it's like, I'm sitting there going, wow, I can't believe we're sitting here right now. But this is, the whole
stupid
AI
level.
trade. Yeah, it's really lofty. And look, I'm cut from a different cloth than everybody else, like all of you, I'm talking to our panel here. I mean, I remember when, 6% annually was a good rate of return.
Yeah.
So,
right.
when we're up at these levels, I start to look around and look, Craig, here it is, under the hood. You start looking under the hood, right? So yeah, dollar, yen, I think those are ones you actually have to start watching kind of closely now.
Yeah. We've been trying to find some of us, at least myself, I've been trying to find a bottom in gold for a bit. It started to show some promise. Gold doesn't like the war resuming, but Sarah, I'm curious, just shifting it over to you on gold. What does a chart, what does the unbiased chart view on gold look like here?
Gold, golly, let me try that again.
It's okay. It's Sunday, Sarah. You're good.
I feel tired from the sun and it's hot as hell outside here.
Why are you wearing a sweatshirt?
Because I'm not outside. I'm in the air conditioning now.
Okay, good point. Could you imagine having to live in Florida in 1940?
No.
Oh, no, you would die. I don't think it was meant to be inhabited. This place is cruel.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
oh, it's fine. No, we got no upside traction on silver and gold, and silver currently weaker than gold, took out Friday's lows. It's heading for last week's lows and heading to these lows. That's where it's attempting to go. So as long as you're below Friday's lows, 59.24 on silver, you can be short. Gold hasn't quite triggered it yet. But you can see it's close to also taking out Friday's lows, which we would call a simultaneous break in the precious metal sector, which is both of them doing the same thing at the same time. So both taking out Friday's lows, both red on the day, and both, trying to take out last week's lows and then ultimately these lows. So if you are a short trader, you know, a good level, if you're going to take profit, if you're more of a scalper, would be last week's lows, or you could look to maybe take a little partial off and add there, just lock something in there, because once we get there, then we don't know. So it's still, it's pretty bearish.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Sarah, do you ever trade silver?
Not often. I don't trade gold or silver very often.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, just because I wonder, it's one of those things, those correlations, between gold and silver. I know there's different drivers between the two, but silver's getting to really attractive levels for people that want to buy precious metals. And I think Pax, you and I were talking about this the other day, or maybe it was a week ago, about like, these are times that if you really want to buy gold or you want to buy silver, like in a physical sense, you want to buy when no one's trying to buy. You don't want to be, scrambling over to, I go to Scottsdale Bullion, which is just down the street. And you try going in and buying gold bars when gold's ripping through 100. You're not going to get it. But if you really want to start acquiring some of these things, like for you longer term, people, I don't know. Both gold and silver, I think, just kind of look really attractive. We're getting to really attractive levels.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, this is for Pax. This precious metals both of them had these blow off tops right earlier in the year, in that January February period. When we get that kind of blow off trading and these reversals, does the reversal typically end itself in time, or do we need like a capitulation, throw in the towel? We're through 4,000. Everybody, we need some cathartic, high volume bottom in order to find a bottom, or can this just kind of just bleed out over time? In your experience, how do you think this might play out?
Well, I think it bleeds out over time. And we're still subject. We're still subject to headline risk. But when you're talking like Blake is, not necessarily from a tradable standpoint, but from a longer term, ownership standpoint, you can buy gold. You can buy gold anywhere between 39.80 and 4,000. And if we get below 39.80, then you can wait until 37.75, and you can wait even lower if for some reason there is a sort of a blow off bottom. If there is a capitulatory trade. Meanwhile, silver is coming down into some levels that are super, 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 super important. I think, the low of June, $55.
55.69.
Yeah, 55 and change, almost like 6. Yeah, right, exactly, right there. So if you go back and again, you got to zoom out to see this. This is where you can start to nibble and to buy some physical between $55 to $56, because that $56 is the low of December that we rallied all the way up to $79.70, and then the blow off top in Jan at 121. It's also.
And you can't forget, Pax, that the old lifetime highs, between the Hunt brothers and
I'm getting there.
it was $50, right? So
$50.36.
Yeah.
So anywhere between right. Okay. So I was just going to make a slower case, but then you've got November. You got November's high, which is also in the $56 range. So you've got December's low, and you've got November's high, same area, and that's the same low for June. Now this is in silver I'm talking about. Gold chart's a bit different, but now anywhere between the old Hunt brother high, and that goes back to 1980. Okay, so you got to really zoom out now. You have to have historical data to be able to see this. The old all-time high was $50.36. That's when the Hunt brothers had, in air quotes, cornered the market. They were long and they added to the longs. It was a very illiquid market and all kinds of crazy stuff going on at the time with stagflation, inflation, and whatnot. So anyway, that was a generational high and a generational trade lower, and then we sat in the $5 to $6, $7 range for a long time. So this is a very, very important spot, and could be a generational buy, at least in my view. And I think that Blake shares a similar view too.
Yeah.
Especially where at in gold?
Silver.
3,500 if we can see it, but I don't know if
Oh,
we're going to reach for it.
I don't know that we're going to get there either.
Yeah.
But silver at $50 to $56 in that $6 range. Gold has got, it's hard to see that in gold. But I mean, again, if you zoom out on the monthly, we're looking at the 43. This whole general area is gigantic. But if we don't hold like 39, I don't know, 38 and a half to 39 and a half. If we don't hold that area, then we're going to trade back down to 35, as low as 33, and that will be a generational buy in gold. But gold is got just a lot more eyes on it, a lot more open interest, and a lot more volume. So who knows what kind of wherever the central banks want to push it is where it's going to go.
Hey, Pax, and I'm sorry, I want to jump in really quick because one of our viewers was asking, isn't this like a yield-based trade? One of our Asian viewers, which I can't read what his actual handle is.
Oh, that says Mike in Korean. His name is.
Is that what it is? Okay. Hey, as long as you know, I'm half Chinese and I still can't read it. So, but the thing is yeah, it is a yield-based trade, and gold is, at least right now. And the fact of the matter is, Craig. How far will the Fed yields go up, right? So,
I mean, Fed Chair Warsh was brought in there by a guy who wants lower rates.
Yep.
And I mean, he could sound hawkish, and he can. There could be half the committee that's hawkish, but I'm not sure the president is going to appreciate a hawkish Fed chair. So he's going to be in a little bit of a pickle if we get a hotter than expected CPI print this week. He's going to get a lot of flack from the folks on the Hill about what's he going to do next. And if the Fed doesn't react, then the long end of the bond market's really going to sell off, right? Because it'll show lack of commitment to bringing inflation back down to target. And so even though they're not going to talk about forward guidance anymore, the Fed is speaking 14 times this week before blackout starts on Friday. So between Warsh getting on the Hill twice and Waller speaking Monday morning, 11 others will be speaking this week as well, in addition to the Beige Book, which comes out on Wednesday. So unfortunately, Fed headlines will still be with us. I still like
forward guidance AF.
Yeah. I still like I forget who put the quote in from the chat. I'm still waiting for Trump to call Warsh wishy-washy when he decides to not cut
that should
rates.
be on Kalshi.
But yeah, we should be able to make some bets about what Warsh's eventual nickname will be when he doesn't do what the president wants. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. But
hey, Craig, we do have our crypto bros, and I'm using that as how should I say, fondly as possible, coming up
with
here.
love.
We are excited again to have the crypto closeout at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Trader Mayne and Ponzi Trader will be here to talk about the Bitcoin and all things crypto for the next hour. So please stay tuned for that. But as of right now, let's get our views on the Bitcoin.
Let's do it
as we move into the final few minutes here that we have left. But Sarah, the Bitcoin here, Jim's favorite. What are you seeing here for the Bitcoin chart?
It kind of disappointed last week. Like last week, I was expecting to get up to 67, 264. And it just kind of petered out. It got stuck in this big outside day for all of these days. So it's just been trading sideways. But as long as we don't take out last week's lows, the higher time frame continuity of the higher time frames are green. So we got a green quarter, green month, green week. And tomorrow, or no, in an hour rather, if we can take out today's highs, I would take that long. I would. I'm not telling you people what to do, but if I was a Bitcoin trader, I would take that long. So it's still kind of trying. I don't know what's going to happen once we get up here. Like this squiggle shows, this could just be a stop out level for any short traders, and then for more short traders to pile in, because I still do want that August 2024 low of 49,000. So that's kind of like my like best case scenario is go up here, Like you can trade it long until it gets there. And then if we start to flip back down, then, you gotta, well, most Americans can't short it. That's why I quit trading Bitcoin because I can't short it. It's not fun if it's not going up. So
This is
And
expensive as AF. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Back to the August 2024 lows would mean that we have wiped out anybody who got long Bitcoin because the president was going to support it when he went to Nashville in the summer of 2024 and gave that big speech at the Bitcoin conference in July. And then subsequently it fell off because I guess there was some worries that he wasn't bullish enough or that he wasn't endorsing an imminent strategic Bitcoin reserve. But wiping everybody out, despite the president's support for the Bitcoin, that would be an interesting place for us to find.
and they will, and those people will hold bags for a while, and then I'm sure, just go back up. But it's just how it goes.
Yeah, Blake, any thoughts here on the Bitcoin?
I want to give some thoughts because a couple of Sundays ago, whenever I was on here last, I think it was when I was here with we were filling in and had gosh, now I blanked her name.
Samantha was on with us. Samantha was on with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, it's Sunday late in the day. I'm kind of feeling like Sarah at this point. I was saying there's a bear flag and a bear flag and a bear flag, and we have still that technical setup, but the thing is, it is performing a lot better. I actually expected Bitcoin to be trading back below 60,000, and it's really held up quite well. And that's you gotta take that information and shelf it for a while, because if you see an asset class like Bitcoin, or crypto just in general, performing a little bit better in situations where you think it's not going to do as well, that's that divergence in sentiment, I think, is important. And Sarah, you said 67 too, and it's so funny. My weekly video like 2 weeks ago, I said if we see 67,000 again, I'd be a seller up there. But if you would have let me know that you were looking at that level, it would really reinforce my idea. But now, I don't know, Bitcoin's holding up very well, but maybe things will change, Craig. I mean, I think the whole dynamic of the market, let's just say the S&P, if we trade below 7,200 in the SPOOs, the dynamic of everything that we're looking at is going to change dramatically, period, end of story. So we can talk in theory right now about Bitcoin or anything else, but it's the SPOOs is the linchpin of it all, I think, right now. So
yeah. Pax, I'll give you the last word. It doesn't have to be on Bitcoin, but is there something you're looking at this week that you think could maybe shake the tree up a little bit? It seems like first part of July kind of not really doing a ton, but and we're all looking to get more active, but is there anything you're particularly keen on watching? If you saw it happen, you strap into the chair a little bit more aggressively and get to work a little bit more.
I am I don't want to trade S&P until we are either making a new all-time high above 76.32 or we're back below the quarterly pivot at 75.08. I will look for I'd be more inclined to trade the NASDAQ, actually. So that means I'm going to step out of the indices. I'll trade rotations maybe a little bit during the days. What's interesting to me are the bonds in this order: bonds, silver, and gold. Silver, I've traded a lot of silver in my life and a lot of silver in the past. I have not traded a lot of silver since January, since I liquidated my longs, took profit on my longs and got out. In fact, I haven't traded silver at all since late January, mid-January. So gold, though, is coming down to the quarterly pivot at 4,078. So I want to see gold hold that. We're trading at 40.84 now. I want to see gold hold 40.78, and I'll look for long. If gold takes out 40.78, I'll get short. I'm for a trade, not for for nothing for more than just a trade. I want to be long. I've said this in every show that we've ever had. I want to be long gold and silver long term, physical anyway. And the bonds, if the bonds take out last week's low, I got to look. I'm so disconnected right now that I'm not really even paying much attention to what they are. Wow, 110.25, actually, holy shit. we're only 2 ticks away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
if we
right.
Last week close.
if we take out 110 and 110.25, then the bonds are going to trade down to May's lows, which need to hold at 109.16. They have to hold. If they don't, big things are afoot.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's definitely a good place to end it. A big level in bonds. Keep an eye on that. Big macro week coming up. Right there. Thanks everybody for joining us here on the Sunday Open. Let's kick it over to Trader Mayne and Ponzi Trader for the crypto closeout. Let's get cracking.
Hello, hello.
Mr. Mayne.
How are we today?
Doing well, man. Did you have a good birthday?
I did, man. 43. Can you believe it?
That's crazy. I thought you were 47.
I know. I'm Benjamin Buttoning. I'm going backwards. So I apologize if my voice is a little hoarse. But welcome to the crypto closeout, sponsored by NinjaTrader Live and Kraken. I'm Trader Mayne. We got Ponzi Trader here. And it sounds like our pre-show friends here are bullish a little bit on crypto. Did you get that vibe?
I did. And honestly, I have to have the same exact vibe, dude. I'm feeling good about these charts at the moment. I'm not going to lie. I think it all looks kind of good.
So I'm like cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin. I think they said something at the end that I very much agree with, was like the S&P is just in such a weird spot for me in terms of how high it is, how vertical the chart is traded. It looks like it wants to go and make a new all-time high here, and basically every all-time high breakout trade on this has like been a pretty good one, which is like the complete antithesis of Bitcoin. So I'm like, if this thing breaks out, I could totally see Bitcoin trade, I don't know, above 70 again, but I'm still pretty firmly bearish, like higher time frame. I know that we're kind of getting diminishing returns here on the downside. So I'm not like as in favor of shorting, just like from a macro perspective, but I still think we got one more low coming at the end of the summer here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think we've been on the same page for so long now about that. One more low, inevitable, but I'm just feeling somewhat bullish on these charts right now. I think I think they look good.
Is it the black bull that's getting you bullish? Or are you
No,
confusing
dude, it's honestly it's the
black
ETH
bullishness?
chart. It's the ETH chart. Something about the ETH chart, just single line based analysis tells me that we may go higher.
Okay, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about ETH. Obviously, can't say that without Robinhood chain, right? I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are kind of using this as the bull case for ETH coming up here is, Robinhood chain. I do think that ETH BTC is at an interesting spot. If it can kind of clear, I know this is like a ginormous, ugly level, but like it needs to make a higher high here. And I'll delete this squiggle. But like this needs to be a higher low. And if it can finally shift structure here, I think then we can get excited. Like until then, I don't want to like get too early on this. This is every one of these bounces for literally years. ETH BTC, people are like, this time it's different. This time it's different. This time it's different. So I hope this time is different. I kind of agree. Like, is that your single line?
Single line? No, higher. Oh, ETH BTC. No, I'm looking at ETH USDT.
It's the same thing though, right? Like same chart.
So, yeah, theoretically.
So yeah, I mean, I see it. If this can go make a higher high on like the weekly here, I could see there being like some sort of ETH rotation, which is just gross to even say.
I mean, dude, Robinhood really is kind of proving that. For those of you who did not catch that move or don't know what we're talking about Cash Cat. If you take a look at my screen, Cash Cat launched last week. Well, technically, it launched 3 weeks ago. Robinhood built a chain, and they launched it actually on the 18th of June, 2026. So about a month ago, and nothing happened on the chain for about a month. Every coin on the chain went to zero, right? We essentially saw the classic new chain, coins go up, coin goes back down, irrelevant, forget about it. But then what ends up happening? Robinhood announces the chain, you get more activity on socials, you get some marketing for the Robinhood chain, and the market decides a winner. And the winner for this chain happened to be CashCat. Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, ended up following the CashCat token Twitter account. The CFO of Robinhood had CashCat in his bio. Was it all controlled and was it strategized? We don't know. All we know is that the market has taken the side. This coin did thousands of percent in a 24-hour period. It went from a $5 million market cap to, at the time, 140. It's now taking a breather at $160 million market cap with an all-time high of 220 million. And the trenches are still really excited about it. Mayne, did you trade this at all, or do you have any opinions on it?
No, I'm an adult, so I don't do this stuff, dude, especially now that I'm in my 40s. So for the boomers like me, because there's obviously a monster generation gap between you and I. Like, I barely understood anything you said over the last few minutes there. How would you explain what you just described? New chain, new coin, the CEO of Robinhood following the meme coins account to like a stock trader. Like, what's the equivalent? Is it Jensen shouting out like Marvell on stage, being like, this is the next $1 trillion company that I also just happen to make a huge investment in, and they're at 100 million right now? Like, is that the equivalent? And then or what?
Pretty much. I think it's obviously a lot more volatile than that because these assets are so thin and really, really low market cap. It's just an excuse for people to try to make money. And it's been the instrument of choice for degenerates for the last few years. We saw it with what was the last Elon, right? So last year we got Elon in he was interfacing with a few memes that launched, and surely they went to billions. The issue is we are on the euthanasia coaster. So like, although we're over here talking about $160 million market cap token, last year this would have been several billion. But yeah, I mean, it's the epitome of degeneracy, but with some trading mixed in.
How much is it skill? Because you're still able to play Call of Duty. I aged out. I can't do it anymore. It's too sweaty. And that's how I feel about the trenches. Like, I see the kids who are crushing it in the trenches. They're young, right? They have like video game like abilities. Their setup is like, I don't know. It's like the new pit floor. They've got 3 monitors. They've got Twitter trackers. Like, it's just not for me. Again, too sweaty is like the term. It's just like, it's like a video game to them. But my understanding is someone who's very, very much out of touch with the trenches is it's like a mass casualty event primarily, right? Like, the vast majority of people, I'd say probably even more than are unsuccessful at trading, are unsuccessful at trenching. I read some article, this is over a year ago now, during the heat of it, where it's like less than 1% of wallets on Pump Fund have ever made more than 10 grand, which is like, so basically everyone except for a very few people make any money. So it like, is it skill based? Like, or is there a level of, I don't know, I don't want to say like it seems like the same few people always skill, make money.
It's skill in the sense that it's a different type of skill from trading traditionally, but there's still skill in the fact that you have to be on chain and you have to be monitoring the flow of liquidity on chain. So you got to be watching the Sharp wallets, the guys who bundled it, the single side LP that goes up. You got to have trackers tracking Twitter accounts that feed you notifications instantly so that you're ahead of information. It really is the game, the meta is being on top of flow and information. So that's why, we see the same 5-10 kids that keep making $10-20 million plus.
They're just the best at it.
Yeah, they're just replicating it. And the issue is that the 99% of the people end up losing money is because, let's say CashCat launches. Well, someone says, oh, well, I missed CashCat at 160 million, but this Cash Dog just launched. Maybe it does the same thing. And that is where all the scammers come around. Is that even a coin? Boom. It's a coin. I didn't even know it was a
Are
coin.
we longing it?
No, absolutely not. But that's where the scammers come around and like will make up, other coins to try to fit the narrative and catch attention. And then they just rug them because they have 90% of the supply. So the real skill is being able to read the wallets, read the flow, read the bundle, read everything that culminates and tells you information about what is going on chain to then make a decision on whether, should I be holding this or selling it or buying it, whatever. So yes, I think it's
good thing I'm dyslexic, so I have no chance. It's
over.
like, it's, again, I view it from afar. I can be viewed sometimes when people ask me about Ansem on stream or Cash Cat. Like, I can be a bit of like an old curmudgeonly man, because I'm like, guys, understand what's going on, right? Like, you see someone turn $1,000 into $100,000 overnight. You're like, I'm going to do this too. And I always just try to be pragmatic. I'm like, you're basically just buying like a lottery ticket. Like, most of you are going to get your ass handed to you trying to trade these memes. Even if you are lucky enough to get in early, you're not going to sell. Like, you're going to lose. But I don't want to like, I also understand the other side of it, where people are trying to turn $1,000 into 100 grand. It's like that hyper. There is very few places where you can turn a little bit into a lot. Meme coin trenches seem to still be one of them, but it's just like such a low odds game to me that I'm kind of like, you'd be better off doing this, that, and the other thing. But then everyone's like, basically, you're unk, you just don't get it, and they're probably
pretty
right.
much. And there is a lot of insider trading and crime that happens. You have to dance around all these moving landmines. I honestly think it's easier to trade like BTC perps than it is to try to make money in the trenches. And then you're paying an exorbitant amount of fees. You're fighting it's such an uphill battle the whole way. It makes it really difficult. So it's less about trading and more about holding and then having conviction in what you're doing. But with all that said, Mayne, what are your thoughts on what just happened in the last 24 hours, I guess 48 hours, with the reinstigation of war, ceasefire broken, missiles flying everywhere, oil ripping, Stonk's not looking hot, BTC major not looking hot right now. Honestly, this is looking like a pretty prime short that I might actually try to take to hedge out some exposure, but talk to me while I'm doing that.
So, live trading only on the crypto closeout, talking about Cash Cat to shorting Bitcoin based on geopolitical events. Only here can you get this type of analysis. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted of this Iran narrative. Like, the straight being open, close. We've got a deal. We've got no deal. Like, I understand a part of this is Trump being Trump. Like, it's like there is no deal. And then like, there's all of a sudden a deal. Like, this wouldn't be the first time if a week from now, he's like, oh yeah, we've been talking this entire time and now we have a new deal. I want to think that the market is like shrugging it off a little. I think if the S&P can make a new all-time high this week, it's a breakout long. That being said, like Bitcoin, I kind of agree with you. It looks a little droopy. Like, yeah, I would long Bitcoin at 59 to 60. Like, if we get it,
I'm looking just to short it to like 62, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, we just play completely different time frames. I think you can get a lot more juice out of that, to be honest with you. Like, looking at the 59 to 60K area is the area to test before move to 70 if we're gonna. And if the week starts off red in equities, we get some sort of move. Like, it's not that big of a move to the downside. We're talking like 4 to 5%. And then I do think that this thing could rally, going into the rest of July here. But ultimately, I do think it's a lower high. Crude going up, like, I've had this simple diagram on my trading view for like all the videos I've been doing on my streams. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so war on, oil up, war off, oil back down. I still think that this thing rolls over. This to me looks like
here.
I think it can bounce higher, bro. But like, this to me, I think gets back below this trend line, actually. Maybe that's a hot take.
But you're looking at like a multi-month, multi-year basis now, right?
Well, I'm thinking, yeah, multi-month for sure. Like, if you're asking me what I think oil is going to do this week, it looks like ETH, right? Like, it broke this little trend line here. I could see this squeeze and, stuff roll over. And I think that kind of lines up with my Bitcoin thoughts here short term. Like, I would like to play here for a long. I don't see a trade right now on the long side on Bitcoin unless it just breaks out and then you get some sort of retest. So
yeah,
I'm just tired of the war stuff, bro. Like, I'm
everyone
over
is, dude. Even the market is, bro. Even the market's tired.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think like that headline 2 months ago, completely different reaction. We would have puked to start the session here on everything.
We got Wee Lamb in the chat saying, first time watching us, happy birthday, Mayne from Kaizen. That's our boy. That's our Kaizen boy down there, bro. Thanks
What
for watching.
lore? Like one of the great, we won't share it here, or maybe we will. It's up to you.
Probably not. Probably
But
not.
one of the greatest lore stories of all time. What's up, bro? Thanks for the happy birthday wishes.
OG crypto guy. Amazing.
Very OG. Yeah, man. So I want to talk to you about the Black Bull Ansem situation. I want to go back to the trenches because I find that exponentially more interesting than what's going on with Bitcoin right now, to be honest with you. This is like I know like Ansem, the person, has been very bullish on Sol. He got bullish right at the bottom. So did we, though. And coupled with the bouncing, I got to collect that clout. Coupled with the bouncing on Sol, I mean, I saw him post a chart today being like, Sol to 115. It's a big move. What do you think's going on here? Like, is this a revival of the trenches, or is this just like a one-off thing right now where there's some liquidity? Because it's a very complex situation that he's got on his hands right now. And like, how do you think it plays out? It's a celebrity coin where the celebrity is a guy that we know, and he has a 60% of the supply and is completely unlocked. It's a crazy experiment, but like there's some big stakes here. This is a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird spot for sure. I think honestly, from a charting perspective, I think Ansem goes to new highs from here, which would be.
Let's pull up Ponzi.
Yeah, take a look at my chart. What I'm seeing here, and honestly, now I want to long it too.
You have
what
one move, and it's draw a trend line.
Dude, it works.
Your whole bag.
Doing this, dude. It's a simple single line based analysis. But anyways, what I'm seeing is like this was, we were in a higher low. I'm sorry, lower high, lower high, lower high, and then this got defended, right? And this was like kind of where we broke out from originally. Like this was the inefficient drive that started this whole move. And we've retraced all of that. And I think we're down like 60% from the highs, which is my favorite number to be down. Just about, right? 58%. Beautiful. That to me is like a pretty cool spot to take a risk. And essentially you're targeting equal highs first, and then you're targeting new highs after that, right? And I don't think the attention game is done here. And let's keep in mind as well, this is a $266 million market cap. Really, it's 40% of that. So I don't know how to do math, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's $100 million market cap. Was that close?
Yeah, I mean, well, half, right, is 130.
I'm LARPing as a mathematician. Nonetheless, I like this, dude. I wouldn't trade it with leverage by any means. I actually capitulated most of my tokens here.
Can you explain the market cap thing you gave? Because I think that's going to go over a lot of people's heads. Like, I'm one of those people who, like, if it weren't for seeing other people get clowned on the timeline, I would be like, wait a minute, liquidity's only this. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, because there's multiple liquidity pools, obviously. There's tons of volume going through the coin. But you're saying essentially because Ansem holds 60% of the supply, that's not the real market cap?
No, it's not. And you can actually, so if you're using any tools, you can go ahead and look at his wallet right here, his ranked number 1 wallet. He's airdropped about 2% of the supply to people. His wallets, Ansem personally holds $155 million worth of this asset. And I would not want to be him. I am now a target if I'm Ansem with that much money on any of my hard drives. Nonetheless, what this means is, so there's a few factors at play. Number one factor is that you're using what we call trust. And we're trusting that Ansem's not going to sell this token. And if you can get over the hurdle of trust, then what that tells you is that this supply is locked up forever and will not enter the market and will not take liquidity. With that, you take this percentage out of this total market cap because we're considering it gone, right? We're considering that it doesn't exist. And the other way to look at this is like the best from TradFi people is, the best examples that we just had is SpaceX. SpaceX was trading on, I can't remember the percentage of the float. Do you remember? I think it was really small.
Tiny.
It was like 10% or something. Yeah. Yes. And Stop Hunter says, bro, but this thing is worthless to begin with. Yes. But let's not forget we're in a bubble for assets like this. Or the .com bubble was a bunch of worthless stocks trading at the tunes of multi-billions. You don't need value to trade these things realistically.
I have like
there you go. SpaceX float was 4%. That's what it was,
yeah.
4%. So
I have like
the only tradable supply is like 100 million.
like so I see this a few ways. Like one, I understand Anthem's thesis. I was one of the people who was like vocal during the celeb coin thing that he was doing, where like the ultimate event was him literally meeting with a Yee or Ye, like literally Kanye, and like insane, dude. As a guy like who I've met Ansem in person dozens of times. We've hung out. We have each other's phone number to be like he's hanging out with Kanye, talking about meme coins.
Yeah.
But like I was very vocal on the timeline, being like, dude, we know how this ends, and he was adamant. Like no, like this time's different. We need to onboard retail and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but we know how this ends. These celebrities will take the money at the most immediate opportunity. And that's what happened every time. Didn't matter if it was Iggy Azalea's coin or what some rapper's coin. It's a rug. It goes to zero. As this user mentioned, they all go to zero. They're all worthless. We're essentially subbing out Ansem with the celeb. And he's saying, well, you can trust me. I'm not going to rug it, to your point. And he's going to use this supply that he has, which becomes more and more valuable the higher the coin goes, to facilitate the transfer of attention to other things going on in crypto. He's going to incentivize people to work for their bags. Like I read his whole post about it, and like it all sounds very nice to me, but I'm just like, man, like there's so many ways you can poke holes in this, and the answer is like, well, just trust me, bro. At the end of the day, like you can say everything right, and he can even execute everything as he plans to execute it. But like there is this ultimate question of like, just trust me, bro, because he has the supply unlocked, which I think is going to make it very difficult for him to ever get it listed anywhere. Like I think the fact alone
I
that
disagree.
I don't know, man. No major exchange, I think, would want to list a coin where 60% of the supply is held by one person, fully unlocked.
What about Lab?
What's going on with Lab right now?
It went from $20 to 32 cents. Look at that. This was on every single major exchange, dog. This was 99% supply choked by the team. It went from
fully unlocked.
Unlocked by whose standards, right? Like, sure, an investing contract that the team controls. It's the same trust faith thing, right?
Interesting.
Like the team controls the tokens. It may not be one person, but even worse, it's a team that like actually committed crime. This went to $20 billion, bro. So it's $20 billion, and in a span of days, it's at zero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this can happen though with
it can happen.
Ostensively. So that's why I mean there's this trust me, bro layer of like, hey, also is the money going where he says it's going to go? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Like I'm one of the people who trust Ansem. Whether or not it's going to go right, like I'm not participating. Like this is not my game. I'm just commentating. And it's like, okay, the instant thing that would come to my mind playing devil's advocate is like, okay, could he not just be unloading this to wallets that he controls, like selling it slowly, just leaking out the money to himself? Like there's so many ways that holes can be poked, but his thesis and his idea, I get it. We're going to point people to, different assets and crypto chains, protocols, people doing cool stuff. It's a very nice idea. Whether or not it can work and it gets executed, I genuinely have no idea. It's going to be very interesting to watch. But I'll be watching from the sidelines because I just feel like, oh my God, that's what an insane amount of pressure, not to mention attention, because when you're giving away free money, everybody wants some. So, I mean, he's basically like broken the X algorithm. He'll post like hi and he'll have 500 comments, in 30 seconds. It's absurd.
I'm more concerned, and like Z, I'll call you about this. And if you're watching this, I know you've watched in the past. Take care of yourself, dude. You have become a serious target to all threat actors in the world, right?
Oh, bro, like full-time security, dude.
This is a ransom's dream. This is like a threat actor's real dream.
I like to think he's taking those precautions, and talk to an accountant, bro, and talk to a lawyer to make sure that from like a tax and legal perspective, you're also fucking dialed. But I would like to think that he's doing those things. I think he's a smart guy. And it's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be crazy to watch. Like the fact that it's gotten this high on its own is in a bear market. Like imagine if Sol does go to 90 or 100 in this period of time. Like this thing could rip.
And I think Sol, unironically, we just had actually, I think tomorrow, and if someone in the chat is able to pull up that information, I will. If you're not, we have Sol unlocks tomorrow, like to the tune of like, like 50 mil, if I'm not mistaken. I can confirm in 1 second. Hold on. Ooh, I hiccuped.
That would be very interesting.
And it's quite the spot to actually have Sol unlocks. But hold on, Solana. Scroll down to unlocks. Oh, it's not on CoinMarketCap. Normally it's on CoinMarketCap. I'll ask Grok, and Grok will parse the data from our wonderful tweeters. Hey, Grok.
I mean,
when is the next Solana unlock or most recent as per sources? Let's see. Grok has been really good as of recently, by the way. I don't know. I've been a Claude and chat enjoyer, but today, July 12th, 2026, features a major Solana ecosystem unlock. Oh, my mistake. It was Pump Fund that unlocked today.
With, how's that look?
Dude, $135 million worth of tokens were unlocked today.
Gotta
look horrible. Doesn't look good, right? This is we remember what happened with Rollbit. Yeah, but my revenue. This is the first major cliff after the 12-month vesting period for team/investors. Shout out Gainsey. He's probably celebrating from the rafters right now.
There you go. Shout out Gainsey. Does Pump look like go look at it on like the weekly?
There isn't a weekly, bro. This is gonna do the same thing that we watched Lighter do. Remember, we did this together, play by play for weeks, bro.
I know, dude. This looks like it's kind of like in that less aggressive sell-off stage.
Look at this, guys. Do you remember this? Look at all the alerts that never got hit.
We talked about Lighter basically every video.
Literally every video. I honestly, if our clippers are here, or anybody who was responsible for clippings, if you guys can go through and grab every single Lighter mention and then put together a beautiful collage where you can watch Mayne and I age endlessly over a 6-month or 4-month period. I don't know how long it's been. But.
Yeah, dude, it looks like really good still. Like it's aggressive. So like if you go to my screen here, I'll show you what I mean. Like, so this is one of my favorite ways to trade meme coins or not meme coins. Sorry, excuse me, reversals. My brain is mush. And I call it the 5 stages of Mayne because I am a narcissist. So when you have these assets that go down more than they go up, which is the average altcoin experience. Like the average altcoin experience is that it trends down and trades down more of its existence than it goes up. But when it goes up, it can go up very fast. You get this very common kind of U-shaped bottom. And so the way that I always look at it is like it's a parabolic sell-off when it's basically going straight down. And then the sell-off kind of chills out. So just less steep, right? Just think of less slope in the line. And then you get this bottom, right? So it will kind of be super rangy, right? It's effectively no longer making like aggressive lower lows. So very aggressive lower lows, lower highs, still making lower lows and lower highs, but less aggressive. And then goes sideways. And then you get this reversal. And this is one of Ponzi's kind of favorite setups too, is like you can do that single line analysis and often catch like these breakouts super consistently. Yeah. And looking at Pump, I see if I explain myself correctly, you can kind of already see a very similar fractal here to what happened with Lighter. So you have the very aggressive sell-off. It's now selling off less aggressively, and you could argue it's starting to begin its kind of sideways phase. Now, the risk with any of these coins is they can go sideways for a very long time. The whole market can pump, and the coin you're in might not. So it might never experience this upside. There's tons of coins that do this and then don't catch the bid and then just make a new low. But if it is able to kind of go sideways here and then put in what I would consider like, accumulation, like Lighter did here, I think that could actually be very interesting, a very interesting chart to watch here.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, it's just so hard with these token unlocks and this and that and this or that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, dude, look, I think lighter still goes so much higher, specifically because are you familiar with the Robinhood news?
Yes, we can explain it to people just real quick on the unlocks so like people understand. I don't even know if the best way to explain this would be SpaceX again, but
Yeah, it is. It is.
SpaceX, right? Lots of people invest in the IPO directly. Many get it through like a fund. They'll get it through like a layer of an SPV. End of the day, you all have different sorts of lockups for people who work at SpaceX, people who who invested in the fund. So all sorts of different lockup periods. So after the IPO has occurred, there might not be as much selling pressure as there may be in 6 months when all of a sudden all these people who invested in SpaceX can now have liquidity in their shares and actually sell it. Many of these tokens, these crypto tokens, have unlock schedules. So with the Ansem token, that supply he has is liquid right now. Whereas with Pump Fund, there's various vesting schedules where you might have invested in Pump Fund early on, and over different time intervals, you get your tokens allocated to you. So basically, what Ponzi's saying is we had a massive unlock just occur on Pump Fund. So you always have to keep that in mind when you're looking at a chart and you're like, this looks good. What was the number? $150 million worth of tokens just became liquid. That
150
means
million.
any sort of move up on pump could be met with people instantly trying to liquidate tokens, which they've held for a long time in a chart that has basically been going straight down. So
And they're up a lot. A lot.
They've seen their investment shrink, right? As the tokens have been locked, but they got in so early at such a low price. Even here, a lot of these people are going to be up a boatload. So something to watch for sure. The chart may look good, but you got to be aware there are going to be people probably nuking into a lot of these pumps on pump, pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like to buy them when they turn. But anyways, now back to lighter coin, lit USDT, lighter.
Looks good still.
Robinhood announced that lighter would be their official perpetual derivatives decentralized venue, which is a whole lot of buzzwords that you may not understand. But long story short is you can trade perps on lighter via Robinhood if you're not American and or in an unregulated country. But the reason that's not too much of a surprise is because both Vlad from Robinhood and Vlad from Lighter, they're both the CEO, and they actually went to school together and have been in touch publicly on Twitter since the launch of Lighter. So it was kind of everyone saw it coming, but no one was prepared for it when the token went down 90% after the airdrop. Airdrop here. So airdrop back at the $3, and we're still not back at the airdrop prices, but we will be back at the airdrop prices probably in the next 60 days. And unironically, I have a bet with my friend Ephraim. I made in February. I said that lighter would outperform hyperliquid in terms of ROI by August 16th. We're now a month out. And let's see what I have to pull off. See what has to be done.
Let's pull up Ponzi's chart.
Yeah, let's look at my chart really quick. Where are we? Okay, here it is. Here's my $20,000 bet I made with my friend. I made the bet here in February. The price, so for those of you who don't understand this chart, it's lighter coin by hyperliquid coin. So it's the ratio of one lighter per one hyperliquid. When I made the bet, it was 0.0535, and I watched it go down to 0.01. And I wrote that $20,000 off. I thought I lost that bet. And just now in the last week, have I gotten hope that I may actually win this bet. And what I really need to see in terms of a price move is a 30% increase. So quite frankly, I need hyperliquid to do nothing while lighter goes up, or hyperliquid to go down by August 16th. And there's a chance that I win this bet. Early, not wrong is quite literally the motto for this setup.
So there's so many similarities between this and like hyperliquid, like as well. Like lighter basically has been the beta play for hype.
Yeah.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right, didn't hyperliquid trade up to like 35 around airdrop?
Yeah,
Like,
and then
and
sold
then
off
fully
aggressively.
retraced all the way back to like $5 or $6. And then
Yep.
you could
Yeah,
argue, like,
9.
are we there on lighter? Like, are we in this, like, okay, there's the
Probably
airdrop
here.
sellers are out, you know,
Probably right here. If you're looking at my chart, we're probably right in this spot right here for lighter.
which means, probably pretty good value, right? Obviously it's up a lot. And if you're looking at the hyperliquid chart, this thing traded from, where Ponzi's showing at 25, up another almost 2x before the next major correction. And it's gone to make new highs. So huge news, obviously, that they're going to be working together. I'm just like, this is the kind of stuff that gets me way more excited about crypto than the trenches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand who the trenches are for. It's not for me. These are for people who are trying to get rich quick. I totally get it. It's a tension game, blah, blah, blah. I have my qualms with people being like, glorifying the trenches when it's like most of you are going to get annihilated. The funniest term is the trenches itself in war were the worst place to be. Everybody in the trenches died. And so, like, this glorification of like the meme coin trenches, meh. But everything going on chain, this convergence of Web 2 and Web 3, like Robinhood is a big friggin' company.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people try and downplay like this. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you want attention, you want retail users. This to me is a much bigger story than Ansem Coin on onboarding retail, which I think is more likely onboarding or just transferring wealth between people who are already aware of crypto in the trenches. Robinhood is huge, right? Like the average person, I would say young person probably in the US has Robinhood on their phone. And everything is now going on chain. And we're kind of seeing this meeting of the middle with companies like Kraken becoming more Web 2 in a sense with what they offer. They're offering Web 2 stuff in a Web 3 way, but I mean, you're eventually going to be able to do everything at Kraken. It's going to be like a bank. It's going to be where you do your trading, your predicting, your saving, your long-term retirement investing, like everything, as well as on-ramping, off-ramping, all this stuff. And Robinhood's coming from the other direction, right? It's Web 2 as can be. Now it's heading towards crypto. And this to me is the most exciting thing that is going on in crypto right now, this convergence.
I agree completely, man. I really do. And shout out Kraken, obviously. I think Kraken knows that this is happening. So they're playing the right game. And I've been loving my
game.
Kraken experience as a Kraken trader, Kraken enjoyer, and Kraken.
It's a crackhead, right? That's what
Yeah,
we're
as a
calling. That's what we
crackhead.
call
Quite
everyone
frankly, a
internally.
crackhead. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Really
I always
appropriate
say,
term.
"What's up, crackheads?" And it doesn't the warmest response. But yeah, I think lighter's a super super interesting coin here. I hope that the new meta next cycle, like I know memes and trenching is not going away, but I think businesses that make money and are doing cool shit should be the coins that we all focus on, like actual quality stuff. Hyperliquid is a quality company, right? Like that's a cool token to own. It's like, this is sweet. They built something novel and they make a metric F ton of money. That's a coin I want to hold. Whereas the meme coin trench game, like to that user's comment earlier, like everything in there is inherently worthless. It's cool to see companies like Lighter, companies like Hyperliquid, companies like Breakout Prop having actual business models that make money in crypto, and I don't know. So that's the coin I'm watching and looking to continually accumulate, both Lighter and Hyperliquid. Not financial advice, of course, but coins that make money. It gives me BNB vibes. Like at the end of the day, BNB's run was largely fueled because it's the Binance machine, right? What's the Bitfinex token? We talked about this a few streams ago.
Leo.
Leo?
Leo.
Yeah, like these are tokens that go up because the businesses behind them are real. So that'll be my last shot at the trenches, I promise, about just being.
Let's see what Leo looks like. I actually made honestly, I think for the guys who are watching this, I'll put $100 USDT reward out for someone who finds my thread that I wrote at the end of last year. And the thread was specifically about how I think the winners of this next coming cycle, being in the year of 2026, 2027, would be revenue generating protocols. Like 2025 was memes, 2024 was memes. And my thesis that I wrote out on this Twitter thread was that real generating protocols that show they work, they make money, and they recapture that value into their protocol or their chain, or they rebuy the token, whatever, would be the winners of 2026. Find that thread, tag me in it. I'll send you 100 USDT. I want to retweet it.
I'm gonna
I'm way too
rewrite
lazy to
that
try to
thread
find it.
and make that my own thesis and post it and just
Nice.
ratio the ever living hell out of you.
Very good.
So like, yeah, like I've got Leo up on my screen here. Like it goes up and to the right.
Yeah, let me
Like
see.
yes, it has cycles and a cyclical nature like all cryptos do. But this is the tether machine here. One of the most, I would say it's got to be the most profitable business in all of crypto. No, like far and away. Don't they make like $300 billion or something absurd?
It is the most profitable business, actually.
Yeah. So like if you go to DeFi Llama, like you can see all those like revenue metrics for like protocols and chains and stuff on chain. The one thing that I think crypto has to figure out, Tether is getting there. Obviously, they make boatloads of money. Hyperliquid, it'll be interesting to see that what ends up lighter is the valuation side. Because valuations in crypto are just so silly because of, I think, the whole nature of having a token like right off the rip before the business even arguably did anything in many cases really skewed how valuations worked in crypto. Like there's chains and protocols and crypto products that make no money, but they still have a market cap in the tens or hundreds of millions because of just the tokenomics and the way it was launched. Whereas with many businesses generally, in TradFi, like regular companies, you don't have your IPO, the same day you start your company. But right off the rip, in crypto, you could raise money from VCs, whoever else, have a token that gives the founders, honestly, instant liquidity, as well as some of the investors for a business that's not even proven yet. Right. And then we had that whole VC cycles, culture a few cycles ago. But the thing with crypto is like now we have companies that actually make money, are doing good business. How do we value these? And maybe are there some things that are mispriced? Like is Hyperliquid actually worth maybe way more? Based on how much money they make, if you were to compare it to a comp in TradFi or Tether, right? Leo gets you kind of indirect, exposure to Bitfinex and Tether's machine. So I think that's going to be very interesting to watch this next cycle. To your point with your thread, like these are real businesses; they make money. Are there things that are not valued as high as they should be? And for a lot of these tokens, they're like forever shorts because it's like, okay, this thing makes no money. It's just eventually going to bleed to zero as all the vesting finishes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's hundreds of billions of phantom capital locked in fully
Like go on
diluted.
DeFi Llama and just like pull up like even like Curve Finance. Like Curve makes money and is doing cool stuff, and it's a pretty popular one on Twitter. But I think their annualized revenue is what, like 30 million,
I don't
and
know.
it's got some crazy valuation on it. Like it's worth like 300-400 mil already, and I'm like, it doesn't make money, right? Like it's not making a lot of money. Whereas Hyperliquid, it's like this is real money. This is a real big business. What do you got on
Mayne, have you heard
CoinMarketCap
of
there?
Canton?
No, never.
Have a look at my screen. If you guys could take a look here. I'm looking through CoinMarketCap and I'm just looking at the top 20 assets. Canton, which you've never heard of. I don't think there's a single participant actually on the chain, is worth $5 billion. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much phantom money locked up and
Dude,
so much
even look
bullshit.
at some of the old stuff, dude, like from prior cycles where like these tokens are on your euthanasia coaster that you referenced earlier. Like I love bringing up EOS, and I tell everyone, I'm like, this is your future, by the way, like this coin. Or look at Cardano even more recently.
I'm just realizing Lit is not even in the top. Wait, that
This is
can't
what
be
I'm
right.
saying when I'm talking about like mispriced valuations. Like we have all of these dead chains, dead projects that are valued at crazy numbers, and then you have like a real business like Lighter, and it's like
Dude,
does
Lighter's
this
at
have
70.
Yeah, dude. Like that to me, like Lighter eventually is a top 20 protocol. No, like seems like it should be, especially with this Robinhood news.
Wow, Lighter is at
Why are we talking ourselves into all-inning Lighter? And why didn't I buy it as we bull posted it for the last 3 months is an even better question.
Why am I not all in lighter?
Dude, I've bull posted this thing on my streams since like literally February. I watched it bottom. I'm like, this is bottoming now. Now it's breaking out. I didn't buy any. Oh my God. Yeah, that's gonna suck, dude.
It's just also so hard buying assets that look like this right now.
I just hate buying in a bear market, like when I think Bitcoin's gonna go lower. But at the end of the day, like some of these coins are moving async to Bitcoin, and Lighter's been one of them.
And you just have to be willing to hold those drawdowns, right? Like you have to write it as an investment and not a trade.
Yeah. If Bitcoin gets one more puke and you can buy Lighter at like under $2, like in that weekly demand zone there, that's like the most big, obvious, silly level on the weekly chart. Like that is just like an instant ape.
Ugh.
And I think the same for Hyperliquid for what it's worth. Like I would love to buy Hyperliquid at like 40 to like 35 to like 45. I don't know if we get there. It's just simply so strong and Bitcoin's already so close to a bottom. But if we do, we get some big capitulation event where like Saylor has to like wax out 50,000 Bitcoin, like actually sells a couple Bs. That would be pretty cool. I think those would be two things I would buy. And then
Here
because
I
I'm
go
sick in the
placing
head, I'd probably
orders.
buy ETH. Ugh.
I'm
Like I'm
order
talking
placing.
myself into being a bull, like as this stream goes on.
That's a good thing, dude.
I know. And dude, like what's going on with Hyperliquid and Lighter, like Kraken and Ink Foundation and NATO. Like
Yeah.
it's clearly the trend for the markets right now. Like NATO's done a surprising amount of volume since inception, and it's everything on chain. This is a DEX. Obviously, I actually don't know. This is a better question for you. The hosts on the prior show said you can't short Bitcoin in America anywhere.
I didn't know that because I'm not an American. I'm not a trading American. I trade in South America, actually, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like some
can trade
American in the
CME
chat, you
futures.
have to be able to short on some venue. You're
Yeah,
telling me
can't you
there's
short CME futures?
yeah, like there's got to be a venue where you can short
Actually, I
crypto.
have CME futures right here on my laptop. Let me actually just try to short it and tell you what happens.
Short it right now and see if the feds kick down your door minutes later.
BTC TradFi futures, July 31st futures contract, short one contract, sell. You can short.
Congrats, you are going to jail. And we got this all on camera. It's insane that you would just admit to that kind of crime. I'm gonna call the police, someone. You have to be you guys got to remember, like, the Trump family has been shorting crypto, I imagine, from the moment they launched the meme coin. So, but what was Eric Trump? He's bullish ETH BTC, bro.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm
He
actually not a
posted
fan
an
of
ETH
that.
BTC chart. He said ETH looks great. And I'm like, Eric Trump is posting ETH BTC at the most optimal spot for a lower high. Like if this does leg down again, like it was so obvious. But I do agree with kind of the based single line analysis. If it can break out here, it does indeed look good. And maybe he'll have called bottom for the 5,000th time and actually been right once. I think his last ETH bull post, it was well over $2,500, right? Like,
yeah, significantly higher.
Like I think it was like back here. It's like great time to be in ETH, drops 50%. Unbelievable things happening. I mean, we've covered a lot, dude. I know we got about 10 minutes left. We don't have a guest on this week. We had a little bit of a scheduling snafu, but we're gonna have Spoono, correct? Next week.
Spoono, and then we have Coin Guru back to back.
So talk about trenchers.
Dude, I'm now just scrolling through DeFi Llama, looking at stuff, looking at
all of it's. I mean, look at the chains button on the left there. Let's go back to Ponzi screen.
And I also got to mention that ever since my single line based analysis, I posted about when we started the stream, this thing's ripping up 10% in the hour. I didn't long it though, because you can't really long it, but Let's look at chains.
So you can sort by revenue. Like if you go down to that table there, like you can see like the fees that some of these chains are doing, and it's like abysmal, dude.
Talk to your mic. I'm losing you.
It's abysmal. Like it's abysmal what some of these chains make, and then you look at the valuation. I mean, Hyperliquid, what's that say there? $600,000 in the last 24 hours.
Dude, Tether made $100 million in revenue this week.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. Like, why are we talking about like there's definitely some, I think, alpha.
There's no way Pump did 6 million, dude.
In what?
7 days.
You don't think?
I mean, who the fuck is still trading on Pump, bro?
Would you not think there's been an influx of tokens over the last couple of weeks because of the Ansem Black Bull thing and Cash Cat? I think, yeah.
Yeah, but Cash Cat wasn't traded on Pump, first off.
I know, but people are gonna, to your point, people are gonna instantly launch copycats, say the trenches are coming back. Like, I feel like that. If you look at the revenue graph for Pump, it's probably like a little blip. Like it's been down pretty consistently. You can actually click in on it and you can see, like, is this like an outlier in terms of revenue recently for Pump? I'd say yes. But just like, look how much like some of this stuff is just dead, dude.
I don't even know. Like, what the fuck is Tron Save?
I don't know, dude. But look how low Lighter is, dude. Like Lighter has some room to grow.
Yeah. That's the other issue, though. Lighter doesn't charge fees.
What?
Yeah.
At all?
I'm pretty sure it's 0 fees on Lighter.
How do they make money?
On the spread.
Interesting. So they might be a better
Oh, they make money on liquidation fees? Oh, I guess they do have trading fees?
They must, dude.
No, I was pretty certain they didn't have trading fees.
Did they have like a period of no trading fees to like entice new users and then they hoodwinked them?
Anyone in the chat know?
How can you have feeless? How can you have 0 fee trading, bro, on chain? That cannot possibly be profitable for Frito-Lay.
That was the whole like issue with Lighter. That was like here, let me ask Grok.
Anytime you guys have a question, you just ask the Rock, and he just seems to know everything about crypto.
Yeah, the Rock.
I can't believe you didn't laugh at my Frito-Lay joke. That's an unbelievably
I don't even get it.
cut. It's a film. As a fellow filmologist, friend of mine, actually, fellow film connoisseur that you are, liquid filmer. It's called Games Night. Jason Bateman, funny little comedy movie. Absolutely watch that flick. Add that to your little list, and you'll know exactly the line I'm talking about it.
No fees. Check this out. Look at my screen. Look at that. Can you read? Look, read out loud.
I can't read out loud.
But mostly no. Yes, but mostly no.
So wait a minute. You just told me no fees, and the first word of the answer was yes.
If you have a look at my screen here, it says yes, but mostly no for regular users. Maker fee 0, taker fee 0, premium. That makes no fucking sense.
Premium account. So if you opt into a premium account,
no. Look at this. As a 0 fee model for standard accounts.
Yes, but if you get a premium account,
yeah, if you pay for
better execution speed,
but you pay fees.
Yes.
That's crazy. The taker latency is still not even good. NATO actually, taker latency is 60 milliseconds, and we don't charge you anything over there. By we, I mean me as an advisor to NATO. Yeah.
Interesting. Chart still looks good, I think. And I think there's some mispriced assets on that DeFi Llama website. I'll leave it at that. So what are you looking at this week, man? We got a couple minutes left here. Do you have any sort of trades that you're eyeing?
Back to 350-ish. Cash Cat is going to take a breather. People are playing I guarantee Cash Cat's down 10% since we last looked at it, because if Ansem's going up, look at that. Cash Cat's down. People are so poor, and no offense, but they're not holding assets. If one goes up, the other goes down. So these have now become inverse correlated assets. And it was the same way around. As Cash Cat went up, Ansem went down. And now that Cash Cat's taking a breather, Ansem's going to go up. and they're just going to play ping pong back and forth because nobody can hold both tokens. They need to be all in on one or the other at all times.
So the Cash Cat Ansem synthetic chart that we just created live on air here, like this is a synthetic perp. It's the Cash Cat divided by Ansem asset. What you're saying is that is a bearish asset right now. And they're inversely correlated, much like ETH and BTC are sometimes. Can we make this perp?
Oh, look at that. I made the chart.
There we go. We're the first to do this, and it is indeed bearish, like I said. So our fund that we're launching right here live on air, we're currently expressing short-term bearishness in Cash Cat Ansem.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me make a bounce claim. Cash Cat Ansem pair goes back down to, let's call it 0.4-ish, which would be Cash Cat at, let's call it 130. No, that's got to go lower. Let's call it 120 million. Fuck, I have too much Cash Cat for it to go that low. I'll be really upset, actually. We're gonna see.
You're not a real person, dude.
We're gonna see something like this. And then on the other side, we'll see the Ansem trade. It's gonna do something like this. It sucks that we can't just like coexist as assets. It's gonna go. It's gonna go like this. It's gonna go like this. Maybe like this, and then it's gonna do this. And then
I mean, this was kind of my whole point around the attention thing that Ansem's generating right now is like people are unbelievably broke right now. And I think large part of that was due to the trenches already and just the way the world is right now. And one of my biggest kind of like moral, pushback about this entire situation is like you're promising people that they're going to get rich we're all going to make it. Like that's effectively the slogan. He's like, we're all going to make it. Millionaires are going to be minted in the trenches, and this is going to be why. And I'm always just like, I'm always a much more realist with my audience, at least. I'm like, most of you aren't going to make it. I know it's not like the message that people want to hear, but I like to be very honest about what trading and investing, especially when you're in the meme coin casino is. Yeah. It is a mass casualty event for most people. I think absolutely, if you're going to do it, understand what you're up against and go in there, use proper risk management. But 99% of you, statistically, based on what we've seen so far, are going to lose your money in this stuff. So just be very, 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 very careful. So, I mean, in terms of my plan for this week, I'm sitting on my hands. I've literally taken, I think, 20 trades between Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol and Hyperliquid this year. That's it. But I've won like 15 or 16 of them because I've just waited for kind of like high odds turning points in the market. And we're not at one for me yet right now. So I'm quite literally chilling, touching grass. I think things will get more exciting for crypto later into the summer, going into the fall. I think you absolutely, one thing I completely agree with people like Ansem, other people online are saying right now is like, now is not the time to tune out of crypto. I think the downside is a lot more limited. I do think we can go down more, but in terms of time and price, I think we're a lot closer to bottom than some people might realize. And it is time to pay attention, whether we bottomed already or we bottom at that 49K low that Sarah and everyone else on the prior show, and me included, are looking at. We're a lot closer to that, I think, than people think. And from a cyclical perspective, we're close. So definitely a very exciting time. I'm looking forward to the fall, and I'm no longer as interested in shorts just on a macro perspective for Bitcoin. I'm starting to look at picking up some spot, already nibbled on some below 60K, and I'll continue to do so if we get another leg lower.
Yeah, I am totally listening to what you're saying and not looking at my wallet in the top 50 and some traders and being happy.
I'm like offended by my 1% comment. And you're like, not me.
I actually had to look, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, a lot of people didn't make that much money, but I managed to make a little bit of money, and I thought I made not much money at all. And now I'm looking at it, dude, you scroll down to like top 100 and people are making 40 grand. So I guess I did all right.
That could be life-changing for someone, right? Like based on what they invested. Correct. Like I'm not trying to downplay, like meme Correct. Coins are a lottery ticket, and you can't win the lottery unless you buy the tickets, is what my dad said. And he won the lottery. So I think that's like
won the lottery.
Yeah, he won a lottery here. It's not like a crazy sum, but still he bought the ticket for years and he ended up winning. And it's like, all right, proof's in the pudding.
I guess that's, it's as we come up here on our last 30 seconds, the best takeaway from this show today is gamble and gamble as hard as you can until you make it.
Responsibly, very responsibly, very responsibly. Use good risk management. Realize most of these coins are worthless. You can make money, but just be smart. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose, because you don't want to blow up and have your bankruptcy case be like, what happened? I thought you were financially stable. It's like I lost my ass on Cash Cat. So, don't gamble with money you can't afford to lose. This has been the Crypto Closeout. I'm Trader Mayne. This is my co-host Ponzi. We'll be back next week. See you then.